Good evening, Tony Dottino. Going closer and closer to Christmas as we are here on Wednesday, December 22nd, and the stores are busy. Grocery stores are crazy. People are lining up for COVID tests, and I keep reading these different positive articles on what are some of the things that we need to do to keep our brains and bodies healthy. And reading today an article that comes out of the current issue of Science Focus magazine. So, Science Focus magazine, to be exact, this is their current issue, which I wish they would tell you what month it is, but look at the cover. And it's an interesting cover because it's got 9 mind-blowing questions about the most incredible object in the universe. 9 mind-blowing questions about the most incredible object in the universe, your mysterious brain. And what's interesting about the reading in there is they talk about the mysterious brain, in that we've learned so much about it within the last 20 years, and yet the more we keep learning about it, the more we realize we know less and less about it. And so it's an interesting dichotomy we've got ourselves in as we're learning about it, to find out as we learn more about it, we find ourselves knowing less about it. So it's one of those things that the more we know, the less we know. And the less we know, we just keep doing more and more research. So I wanted to cover in this particular issue, they have a suggestion of things on the best habits to keep your brain healthy, happy, and sharp. I like that happy piece. And it's being written here by a book, Be Who You Want. Be Who You Want. That's being written about. It's coming from that book. And I think if you've listened to my Live with Tony's over the last 6 months or so, you will recognize the tips that the book is giving, fairly close to matching what I keep talking about is the 6 elements of brain health. So let's see if we can take them. First one he talks about is be mentally active. We want to be mentally active. Psychologists and gerontologists refer to the concept known as cognitive reserve, which is essentially your brain's ability to adapt in the face of aging and illness. If a person has high cognitive reserves, then even if they show some of the markers of Alzheimer's, it is possible they will perform well on tests and mental performance. It's as if they have a spare capacity that allows them to cope with any damage. There are many activities you can attempt that are considered to build a precious attribute, such as reading, musical instruments, singing, puzzles, learning a language, traveling, etc. So I talk about it as mental challenges. And I say to people, God, what is a better way of having a mental challenge that kind of does a double? It's a mental challenge, but it also helps you with your memory and cognitive function, which is to learn memory techniques and skills on how do I remember more names and faces? How do I remember a list of things that I need to do during a period of time? How do I create focus in my mind and remember digits of an address or a phone number? How do I go through the maze of remembering directions on how to get somewhere, though we do have technology that helps us with that today. So the key is, how do we stay mentally active? Are we learning something new on a regular basis? And that maintains the vibrance of our brain neurons and our brain connections, and says this brain is still learning, it's still active, it's still growing, and therefore it's strengthening. So being mentally active. A second one that we talk about all the time, and you're seeing more and more coming out on this, on the impacts of COVID, is socializing, is our social activities. More and more research is done that basically has now said we're hardwired to be social beings. When we start to withdraw from social activity, we start to inhibit some of our mental capacities and functions, and we start losing focus on things we need to be doing. You will have seen that the brain training apps that purport to keep you gray matter sharp. The problem with these apps is you get better at games, but you won't see the gains over into other aspects of your life. They might be worthwhile, but as a team of researchers have put in their topic, people with less social participation and less frequent social contact have feelings of loneliness that increase their risk of dementia. Seek out company and lively conversations when you can. It gives you a workout of the brain and the feelings of belonging that are a boost to your mental health. So let's think about that. There's two elements of this. Brain games give you the mental challenges I just finished talking about. But that doesn't exclude the need that you should have in having social interaction. So I think some of these brain games, the gaming, right, on the internet, you're interacting with other people. I mean, I talk to my grandkids and they're gamers, right? And they just think this gaming stuff is the most fantastic thing in the whole world. They're socially active with people. They sometimes do Zooms with them and get to talk to them face to face and share tips. So I don't think the issue that the writer is addressing here is games are not helpful. It's games in itself, if you isolate just to the game, that may not give you maximum benefit. But if you're game and you're still socially active, then there's no reason why we can't do both. And we talk about that in the 6 elements of brain health. Next is exercise. My goodness, exercise, exercise, exercise. And what I keep saying to people is exercise does not mean you have to prepare for a marathon race. Exercise can be as little as taking a walk after dinner. And you don't have to run after dinner or trot or do anything. It's just a walk of moving about. Exercise can also mean, I was looking for dumbbells, 3-pounders. You don't need to go out and build mass muscles. 3-pound dumbbells is what I will do in the evening at times. Exercise is also wrapped up into yoga, flexibility training, Tai Chi. There are so many different activities that you can engage in. How about dancing? And go ballroom dancing or go out and God, what am I for? Rock dancing. I mean, like rock music dancing is what I'm trying to get to. So there's a lot of things you can do that maintain a level of vibrance in your physical well-being that now connects to not only is that exercise good for your mental fitness and your brain health, but it's also good for your heart. And you think about what your cardiologist might be telling you. Next, what about eating healthy? Okay, we talk about eating. What we don't realize is the impact that food, right, the food that we ingest actually is utilized to feed the chemistry of the brain along with the oxygen that we breathe in. And that's the exercise part, but now here comes the nutrition part. So the combination of the oxygen we're breathing in with the health of the nutritional habits we have, and nutritional habits, as I'm reading more and more, should not just, let's eliminate all fats out of our diet. As I did a session last week, taking fats out of our diet inhibits the neural connections. So you don't want to take fats out of your diet, but you want to put the right ones in. So you want to have a balanced diet of carbs, proteins, and fats. The right carbs, the right proteins, and the right fats will get you there. So nutrition and paying attention to how our nutritional habits impact our thinking and our physical well-being as well as our heart, right? Stay curious, so says this neuroscientist. Perhaps surprisingly, there are links between personality and brain health. People who score higher in the openness to experience, curiosity, creativity, and willingness to try out new things tend to be sharper and have lower risk of dementia. Well, think about that. That's like mental challenges, learning new things. So people that are more curious, creativity, and a willingness to try out new things, that's really the essence. New things are coming about us all the time. So me doing Facebook Lives over the last 2 years now has been clearly something new that I've done that I never would have done before. I'm always looking for different things, but I want to make the new things I do fun. So I started swimming 2 years ago at the local pool, right? So that's an exercise I've never done. My other half looks at me and says, where does this guy come from? He's in the pool. I was never a pool person, but you know what? During COVID, I sat there and looked at the pool. It was beautiful, wasn't very crowded, and all of a sudden one day I jumped into the water and I started swimming. And now I swim 3 times a week. I actually swam a few days ago here in Florida. It was in the 80s. Today, not so. It's going to drop into the low 50s tonight, so I don't think I'll be doing much swimming tomorrow. I think the water's starting to get cool, though I have a wetsuit, so I'll jump out there. But my point is, stay curious, look at new things, and give them a try. There are so many people, oh, gee, I'm not going to try that. Well, you know what? Give it a try and see if you get the right person to be your teacher and help you out. And then the last thing that this particular article is addressing is thinking positive. Once you've established the range of positive habits, you're hopefully feeling optimistic about your future, especially as you get older. So how we think about things and how we position them to us is what I call our gig. Good in, good will grow in a brain that has infinite capacity. So are you putting good things into your brain and letting them ruminate? Are you letting those be the food that helps your thinking grow exponentially and build that creativity and that curiosity we talk about? So what I just want my audiences to know is our brain has an unlimited capacity. It is amazing, but we get to control what we do with it. And so how we think, good or bad, makes a big difference of what we get. The final piece of the puzzle is a growing amount of research suggests that your attitudes towards aging can have real consequences for neural health. If you expect to become slow and forgetful, you may well have a self-fulfilling prophecy. But if you realize your brain is to some extent in your own hands, it's just what I just said, my goodness gracious. If you realize it's in your own hands, and it's possible with the right style, right lifestyle and mental activities, you can remain much more agile. And so you want to seek out role models that you can, and let them be the training vehicle, educational vehicle for your brain, which is like a muscle. Doctors don't like when I say your brain is like a muscle, it's an organ, but it's like a muscle, which is the more that you're doing the things we talk about, your mental challenges, your exercising routines, your nutritional habits, your sleep patterns, your handling of stress, the more you have the ability to maintain your own control of those elements, the stronger you make your brain and the better your chances are of not walking into the wall of dementia at some point. No guarantees. I don't know if there is anything in life that has a guarantee anymore, but it certainly enhances your odds and your abilities to reach outcomes that you may not have thought possible. And so our maximum memory mastery that we've had out now for a little over a year and a half is certainly a mental challenge of people to learn how to improve their names and faces, how to remember numbers, how to go through an order of a deck of cards. How do you improve your memories and build cognitive fitness? And all this article here of talking about our marvelous brain suggests is staying mentally active, get out there and socialize as best as you can during COVID within reason and safety. Watch what you're eating and think about the proteins and the carbs and even the time of day you eat your foods and things. Just stay curious and just know that you can make this happen. This is my Wednesday broadcast. It is coming closer and closer to Christmas Eve. I'm going to try to do one. I'm not sure what my final plans are. If I don't do it on Christmas Eve, I'll do it the morning of Friday. I love doing these. I love the feedback I get. So everyone stay well, stay safe, get your shopping done by tomorrow so you don't have to go into grocery stores in the last minute, get the food you want, and have a Merry Christmas if I don't see you before Friday.